Leclerc takes the checkered flag. Verstappen takes the lead. There's barely room for Sainz to get past.
that. We're very pleased with that.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Alexander, Hamilton and George Russell. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team back in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special just around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Alexander lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Norris, Ocon, Bottas and Kevin Magnussen, Ricciardo, Gasly, Sergio Perez and Mick Schumacher, Vettel, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll and Alex Albon, Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks. MFD for a new strategy option. Russell's behind you now. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 2.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Your last lap time was a 1:59.5. Russell behind. Our gap behind is 2.9 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Time last lap was a 1:59.5. Okay, Russell's behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 1.4 seconds. They're on fresh softs. And the time last lap was a 1:57.0. gap behind us is 4.1 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 57.4. That's P1. Yes, you've done it! You've done it! Well done! Great stuff, mate! Great stuff!
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Alexander increases their championship lead. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Alexander. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And Red Bull take over as championship leaders. Another team that excelled today were Williams, who make further progress up the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.